Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to staying informed on artificial intelligence. Today we're looking at 4 big AI stories from Friday, July 4th, 2025. We'll explore how AI is changing things, from schools to the music scene. And get this whole deep dive, researched and generated entirely by AI. Pretty meta, right? So what's the real impact on you? Let's dive in. Okay, first up, education. There's a surprising trend reported by Fox News. Schools are apparently fighting AI cheating by bringing back old-school pen and paper blue books for exams.
Yeah, it's a really striking move, isn't it? Almost an analog fix for a very, very digital problem. And the numbers are kind of wild. Something like 89% of students admit using AI for schoolwork.
89%, wow.
Exactly. And the detection tools like Turnitin's AI checker, they're struggling. Even experienced teachers, while they often can't spot AI writing reliably. Plus, privacy concerns there too.
So the answer is back to basics, handwritten exams. Places like Texas A&M, UC Berkeley, they're seeing more demand for blue books. The idea is it promotes deeper thinking.
Right. Deeper cognitive engagement. That's the argument. But here's the question. It might limit AI during exams, okay, but what about homework? It doesn't really solve that part of the equation.
Good point.
So the article suggests, a more balanced approach is needed. Things like building AI literacy right into the curriculum, maybe exploring different ways to assess students, like oral exams, or focusing on the process, not just the final paper. It's about making sure students still learn those essential skills.
Okay, interesting. Let's shift gears then, from learning to the economy. There's a piece in Barron's about a hedge fund, Coatue Management, being extremely bullish on AI.
Oh yeah, very bullish. The founder, Philippe Laffont, he's calling this AI boom just the start. He thinks we're only like 3 years into what he calls a decade-defining supercycle.
A supercycle. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Well, looking at the bigger picture, he predicts the tech sector share of the U.S. market cap could jump from under 50% now to maybe 75% by the end of the decade.
75%, that's huge.
It is. And it's fueled by massive spending on AI infrastructure. Wall Street estimates for 2025 are now hitting $365 billion. Just compare that to $152 billion back in 2021. It's more than doubled in just a few years.
And it's not just spending, right? Their research shows big jumps in people and businesses actually using AI chatbots. But here's what I found really interesting. Laffont talks about new hyperscalers emerging in cloud computing. Nvidia seems key here.
Exactly. Nvidia's GPU allocations to companies like CoreWeave and Oracle are seen as central to this. And Laffont really champions the U.S. position here. He points to Wall Street and Silicon Valley as unique strengths. 75% of the global tech market cap and 60% of the world's AI researchers are apparently in the U.S.
So the prediction is lower labor costs, less inflation, more GDP growth.
That's the outlook. Lower labor costs, reduced inflation, higher growth, even smaller budget deficits. It's a vision of AI as this major economic booster.
Okay, which brings us directly to jobs. This impacts so many of us. Forbes has an article, 10 careers AI will replace in the next 5 years. It mentions a McKinsey projection, about 30% of U.S. work hours automated by 2030.
Yeah, 30%. That naturally makes you ask, well, which jobs are most at risk? The article, citing Life Career UK, lists things like data entry clerks, telemarketers, basic customer service roles, retail cashiers, proofreaders, paralegals, bookkeepers, fast food workers, warehouse staff, entry-level market research analysts. Basically, roles with routine, predictable tasks.
So if your job sounds like one of those, what does this mean for you? What's the advice?
The core message is about adapting. Reskilling, moving into roles that need more complex thinking, emotional intelligence, ethical judgment, creativity, things AI struggles with. Like maybe a data entry clerk learns data analysis or a paralegal focuses on legal tech.
Right, leveraging human skills.
Exactly. John Hinkle identifies 4 key human skills: conflict resolution, adaptability, leadership, and systems thinking. AI can't replicate those? Not really. The takeaway is pretty clear. You need to be proactive, adapt, and focus on what makes you indispensable.
Okay, final story for today. This one's from The Atlantic, and it's got a pretty provocative title. Nobody cares if music is real anymore. It talks about AI-generated music like this band Velvet Sundown, apparently pulling in over 850,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah, this one's fascinating. The author, Ian Bogost, argues that digital distribution and Spotify's algorithms have already sort of conditioned us for what he calls functional listening, music that's just there in the background, designed to be tolerated rather than really heard.
Like background noise almost.
Kind of. And AI tools like Suno for music, LLMs for lyrics, image generators for album covers, they just make creating this kind of functional music much easier and faster. It feels like an acceleration of something already happening.
Bullghost calls Velvet Sundown's music aggressively middling, inoffensive, designed to just blend in. The lyrics are vague, so they don't really mean much or risk offending anyone. He calls it second-order music listening, like you're experiencing the idea of listening, not the music itself.
It really makes you wonder if, well, if authenticity just doesn't matter as much in the streaming era, has it lost its value? And the big question Bogos leaves us with is, will listeners eventually want more than this sort of ambient hum? Or is this the future? Will it replace the deeper connection music used to foster?
Quite a thought. So from classrooms trying to adapt, to Wall Street betting big, to jobs changing, and even our music, AI is clearly touching everything.
It really is. What stands out to you listening today, considering this entire discussion was researched and structured by AI, it really forces you to think. As AI keeps evolving so fast, our ability to adapt, to think critically, to lean into those uniquely human skills, it's just going to be more and more vital, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, we hope this deep dive sparked some aha moments for you. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring.